Now I put this to the two of you. We might as well make this national. If we brought Clemson and USC to Cowboys Stadium, Felder, I give you $1,000. Which team you putting it on? Clemson and USC today in Cowboys Stadium. Who you gonna go with?
Clemson.
Yogi.
If you asked me week 1, I probably would have said Clemson. I think how I've seen SC's depth and all those transfers evolve and Caleb bounce back, I think he's such a special dude. DJ's talented, but I think Caleb is like a 1% or a 1%er.
Agreed.
I go Trojans because I think this defense is way more opportunistic than people give them credit for. But
I don't think you can live on being opportunistic. That's the thing. We saw Iowa live on being opportunistic, and I don't think you can live on that.
Yogi, that's
14
fair.
Turnovers, like at some point that becomes like DNA, right? Like I think it's easy. You know,
like, would you say the same thing about Iowa?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough to give you like a confident.
Remember Iowa a season ago, right? With all the pick sixes and all the takeaways, and they're living on turnovers. And I think the difference is obviously
the hard living.
Iowa's offense is putrid. They are. But when I think about them, once their defense stopped, once teams realized, oh, we just shouldn't throw the ball over here, it's better for us to punt. And that's the difference to me. But with Clemson, I think we're seeing their offense come. Like their offense won a football game against Wake Forest with Clemson. And then we saw their defense bounce back against NC State.
Yep. And they're getting pressure. That's why I go with them.
Yes.
The front seven. They got real rock stars back up front again. They're getting pressure with 4. To me, we don't know what USC is in the trenches because Oregon State, they went extra innings to get past Oregon State. Then Oregon State went up and got laid out by Utah.
I called that game. And what was interesting is that Oregon State moved the ball a ton. They just had 4 turnovers, 4 picks, 1 pick six. Like they couldn't win in the red zone. And to me, what Utah is and what Utah could do, and just walking around in pregame, I was like, okay. Like they'll look the part of all the teams that are top 6, all the world beaters. Like you just look at size, stature. Junior Tafuna is going to be, he'd play anywhere as an interior defensive tackle, right? Cole Bishop would play anywhere as a safety. Clark Phillips is going to be a first-round pick. He's probably the best corner on the West Coast. So I still think Utah in our league with where we are I've seen all the top teams, at least on the West Coast. I think Utah still is that team. Like, I can't wait to see their next 2 weeks, right? This weekend, they go to UCLA. Be an awesome game to kick off the day. I think it's 12:30 Pacific. And then next week, they host SC. I don't remember what time that one's at, but that place is going to be crazy. And SC, much like Georgia, as we said earlier, like they don't have a ton of crazy road games. Same thing for UCLA. Like I think the Pac-12 misses are the first time in probably a decade where it actually is a story in terms of who's going to find their way to the title game, who's going to compete for a playoff berth. And I think what's fun, or at least for the Trojans, is like what Lincoln Riley is doing. He'd be my coach of the year right now on the West Coast.
People are excited.
He's excited, but to get guy like Chris Peterson told me this, who I respect. Like it's Chris Peterson, David Shaw, Pete Carroll. That's the trinity for me, right? And first day he got the job at UW, I flew up there to interview him, and I said, how long does it take to implement a philosophy? Without flinching, he goes, 18 months.
18 months.
Right? I told you that, George. And I believe that until I've seen what Lincoln can do. Because he got guys, and I've interviewed many players on that roster where they said, we've had to blindly trust. And they have, whether it's Shane Lee or Eric Gentry at inside linebacker, Mekhi Blackman at corner, of course, Caleb Williams, Travis Dye, like Jordan Addison showed up in the summer, for crying out loud. I'm just blown away with how he's gotten this thing connected. And it's going to be fun to see them. Okay, this weekend, it's not going to be easy, right? They get a Washington State team that I think should be a top 25 team. And I do think not being a top 25 team hurts the Pac-12 when we look at the AP poll. I can get into that if you want later. But also, it's going to prepare them for that big clash next week. And I just can't wait to see. We know Lincoln's going to get it rolling at the level of Clemson and all the other big-time programs. Are they there this year? No. But I'll tell you what, with Caleb, I will never count them out of anything. Because that dude, he's in that 1% of everyone I've ever seen in my life, guys, at quarterback. I just think he's that unique of a player. He just had his 12th start of his life. Now we'll head into like season 2 of a starting quarterback.
And I said early. Caleb Williams is college football's hip hop version of Aaron Rodgers. But if the Packers went and played the Eagles, I think they'd get rolled right now. And Aaron Rodgers is in many ways better than Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts is hotter than fish grease, and so are the Eagles. And I'm just simply saying, with all these good things about USC and the outing that they came in, their biggest matchup so far was Oregon State. And Yogi, you talked about how big and how improved and how great Oregon State was and what Jonathan Smith was doing. And it came to bear, and they had to survive Oregon State, a team that went up and got knocked out by Utah. And you're saying they could travel to a neutral site and go 4 rounds with Clemson?
Well, Clemson, other than last weekend at home, where they haven't lost in 37 games or whatever that graphic was, like
2016 or whatever.
It's not like their defense was world. It wasn't like it was when they won the Natty.
So the scary thing about Clemson, in watching them, I saw 4 of their 5 games this year. They are slowly starting to come into form. They won the first 3-4 weeks. Really, DJ was just on the bus. He drove the NC State game. He's starting to kind of settle in with confidence. Him and the coordinator's starting to find a little music he can dance to out there, and they're starting to gel. Remember, this is his first time having this coordinator.